heavy black smoke, a lot of fire coming from a home just near 106 South over by Bangor Highway, to use that as a reference point for the neighborhood. Jake Taylor was there earlier tonight.
Yeah, hi, I'm Jake Taylor with KUTV here in South Jordan at the scene of this house explosion that has occurred. Apparently they got the call about 3 p.m. today, and you can see behind me some of this devastation. You can see some of the smoke that's rising from this home, and it's really been completely destroyed. It's just a pile of rubble behind that fence. You can see this gap in the fence where there's just debris that is blown through it, that spread throughout the street. In fact, I'm just gonna bend down right here and pick up a shard of glass that has made it all the way to this other side of the road. Right here is what appears to be a piece of a door as well. Just kind of shows the impact of this explosion. I want to give you some of the information that we got. They do say that there is an unaccounted for family member. They don't know for sure if the person was inside, but at least one person that the fire department says they've been looking for that's connected with the house. They do not know the cause of the explosion. That's something that they are investigating right now. A number of the roads in the area have been closed. The homes, this home just to the south of it, another home to the north of it, they have received some minor damage. They have been evacuated, and the fire department tells me that they're going to be out here for hours into the night putting this fire under control and investigating what happened. Live in South Jordan, Jake Taylor, KUTV 2 News.
All right, Jake, out there throughout the course of the afternoon, fire crews were alerted about this around 3 o'clock. And as of the last update we heard from them just a few hours ago, they were still looking for one person. We heard more about what happened from fire officials that were on scene.
Not that I'm aware of, no. At this point, no injuries, no firefighter injuries. We're just working tirelessly to make sure that we can get this fire under control and identify the source of the incident, as well as make sure that we can locate the individual that's unaccounted for. The adjacent homes on both sides of this structure were evacuated. We've had fire crews go through and verify there was no internal extension, and so we've been able to manage the issues there for the exposures and focus primarily on this location. The primary goal for us right now is stopping the extent of the fire and working through the entire investigation process to locate the unaccounted for individual and identify what the incident cause was.
Well, switching gears to the election now, Utahns casting their votes in person yesterday faced some very long lines to cast those ballots. Earlier today, we spoke with the lieutenant governor about the process and the frustration of many voters, some in line for hours.
It's an unfortunate delay, but an understandable one. You want voters who are already in line to be able to cast their ballots without undue influence from results. In terms of planning for the election, you know, this is what election officials do. They plan, they hope they're planning adequately. We're constantly learning from hiccups and mistakes. Ultimately, each county clerk is responsible for figuring out what voting should look like in their counties. They're responsible for deciding how many vote centers to stand up. They're responsible for deciding how much paper to stock. They're responsible for deciding how much ink to have on hand. And these are decisions that the state, that my office does not make. These are independently elected county clerks, and it's their responsibility to make sure that the voters in their county, no matter how many voters want to show up and vote, have that opportunity to do so. Well, we certainly look at how things went. We look at our internal processes, we look at our instructions to clerks, and yeah, there for sure will be some changes that will be made, absolutely. We will be making provisional ballots easier. Same-day voter registration, I think there are some things that we can do with that will make it much easier, that are common sense things. Sometimes, you know, you come into these positions and there are just things that are done the way they're always done. And that's just how it is, right? And it's a good opportunity to look and say, why is it that that's how we do this? And is there a better way to do it? And I think there is. So we'll be learning from the large amount of provisional ballots, same-day voter registrants that came to vote yesterday, which is great. It's wonderful. We will be learning from that and streamlining that process in the future. But it doesn't seem like more people than normal, percentage-wise, showed up to vote in person. It seems like a fairly normal amount of in-person voting for a presidential election in Utah. But there were a high number of provisional or same-day voters. And I attribute that to students, first-time voters who are wanting to vote. I attribute that to a lot of population growth in Utah over the last 4 years. So there's a lot of reasons, and we'll be digging into that and seeing why we had so many in-person and lines. But I will say our clerks really do a good job of trying to plan the best that they can. And I have to commend them. I have to commend the voters for being willing to stand in line for a couple of hours to cast their ballot. I think that says something about Utahns, about Americans. We value the right to vote. And we always, as election officials, want to make sure that we're making it easier for people to vote, harder for them to cheat, right? We want easy to vote, hard to cheat. And that's our mantra, and that's what we'll continue to do. Now, I have to say, I don't want the criticism or any of my comments to reflect poorly on the election workers in Utah County. A lot of really good people who spent many, many hours trying to make sure that people could vote, and they did a good job. They had some challenges that could have been mitigated. There was some lack of planning on the part of the clerk that I think, caused some problems that were unnecessary, and we'll be addressing that moving forward.
That's what we do in elections all across the country. I'll answer it again. This is a decision we made several years ago when I was the lieutenant governor. You keep asking that question. You do not release results while people are voting. That is voter intimidation. That is election interference.
Well, Governor Cox sticking up for Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson there after that question was asked a number of times, rephrased, I guess you could say, and maybe took a little offense to it. Congressman Blake Moore spoke with our Brian Malahi about the wait to vote last night.
The long lines and vote totals that are delayed, even partial vote releases being delayed tonight. What does this say about the planning for elections here in Utah and the way that we do it?
So you have a lot of options to vote early, and it's done in a way that we shouldn't be running into these problems. I think there was several issues with not having enough paper and even ink toner, and that can't happen. So we've got to do better than that, but. That's why I think we're all still waiting for the results in Utah.
Where do you think the breakdown is? Is it with the lieutenant governor? Is it with the county clerks? Is it with individual county?
I don't know much about the specifics of this one, actually. I haven't heard many issues going on in the 1st District, so it hasn't really been brought to my attention. So,
and that's his district. Speaking of those that make big-time decisions, Ben McAdams used to make those. Now he's out of the game. He joined us here last night from our live stream from 8 to 9 o'clock. I also asked him about his thoughts on all the Utahns waiting to cast their ballot last night. How do you feel about that, just sitting where you are right now, because this is a little different?
Yeah, it is very different. You know, I said refreshing, and now we're probably going to get a big dump of data all at the same time. But we would see those trickle in little by little, and I think it's probably the right call. If you're standing in line and somebody's the race that you're there for,
get some alerts on your
you get an
phone.
alert that they've already
Sure.
called the race. What's the point in voting at that point? So I think it's good. We want every vote matters. We want everybody to have a chance to vote and to know that their vote matters. We also, there's such potential for misinformation when that happens too. To
Right.
think that the votes are changing radically, and it really doesn't. Votes come in from different places at different times, and there are parts of the state that are very conservative and parts of the state that are very liberal, and they don't come in. When 25% of the votes counted, that doesn't mean 25% of every neighborhood has reported. It comes in sporadically from different places, and so you're going to see wild swings in those early numbers that you'll see somebody up by 20 points and then they go on to lose the election. That doesn't mean there was fraud. That doesn't mean there were shenanigans that happened. It just means that the votes were coming in from different places that have different makeup and people vote differently, and so it's probably the right call.
Looking at election results on a national level, former President Donald Trump is now president-elect, winning a second term in the White House. It was a win where Trump expressed gratitude and his vision for the future.
I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president. Many people have told me that God spared my life for a reason. And that reason was to save our country and to restore America to greatness. And now we are going to fulfill that mission together. We're going to fulfill that mission. We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy? We're going to help our country heal. We have a country that needs help, and it needs help very badly. We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. And we made history for a reason tonight, and the reason is going to be just that. Every single day I will be fighting for you, and with every breath in my body, I will not rest until we have delivered the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve. This will truly be the golden age of America. That's what we have.
On the other side of the race for the presidency, Vice President Kamala Harris came up short after she was thrust to the top of the ticket when President Joe Biden dropped out. She expressed hope and gratitude earlier today.
So let me say, my heart is full today. My heart is full today, full of gratitude for the trust you have placed in me, full of love for our country, and full of resolve. The outcome of this election is not what we wanted, not what we fought for, not what we voted for, but hear me when I say, the light of America's promise will always burn bright. On the campaign, I would often say, when we fight, we win. But here's the thing. Sometimes the fight takes a while. That doesn't mean we won't win. The important thing is don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. Don't ever stop trying to make the world a better place. You have power. You have power. And don't you ever listen when anyone tells you something is impossible because it has never been done before. A fundamental principle of American democracy is that when we lose an election, we accept the results. That principle, as much as any other, distinguishes democracy from monarchy or tyranny. And anyone who seeks the public trust must honor it. Do not despair. This is not a time to throw up our hands. This is a time to roll up our sleeves. This is a time to organize, to mobilize, and to stay engaged for the sake of freedom and justice and the future that we all know we can build together.
Still ahead here tonight on Arc Salt Lake, a ski resort in southern Utah opening up in just 2 days. What can you ski on at Bryan? We'll tell you. All right, time to get your fix of the greatest snow on earth. It's early in the ski season, so early that all the resorts aren't open yet until this Friday, when the resort in southern Utah, Brian Head, will actually be the first here in Utah to spin those lifts or lift.
The excitement level is, 10 on a scale of 10. It's the team is over the moon with enthusiasm to be the first resort to open in Utah. This will be the resort's second earliest opening in the 60 years that it's been in operation. We've had the blessing of some cold temperatures, which really enable our mountain operation team to use our snow producers, our snow guns, to create wonderful surface for us to ski on. And we've also had some natural snow. There's a lot of white around us, and again, that's because of the coldness. Beyond our mountain operation teams, all of our teams are working hard to prepare the resort to welcome our guests, from our building maintenance teams and our ticketing teams. We'll have ski and snowboard school, food and beverage. Everyone really leans into getting the resort ready to reopen.
What went into the off season for you guys in terms of improvements or adjustments? I know there's some big long-term plans, which is really exciting, but on the short term, what went into the summer months here?
Yeah, it's a big house, I would say. And so there's a lot of reoccurring, ongoing maintenance that happens. It's sometimes hard to see. One of the things that we do spend a lot of energy on is maintaining and upgrading our snowmaking system. And that's paying, big rewards for us. In this season, we replaced almost 3,000 feet of pipe, working on the snow producers themselves. We had some significant lift maintenance work that we've done over the summer. We've also an ongoing, what we would call vegetation management, which is glading is another way to think about that. And so we were able to really open up some cool areas of skiing on the Navajo and Giant Step side and really create two new runs in that process. So, earthwork, maintenance on the buildings. We've got some new cool, what we call ticket pickup boxes, which will help folks that have made made advanced reservations, pick up their ticket more effectively. So lots of things that are all added up, or I think it's almost $1.3 million of capital investment that we spent this summer. It's just a very accessible resort with a comfortable vibe is how I would describe it. The feel in the air is very comfortable, super welcoming. Come visit. That we're starting on Navajo Mountain, which is kind of our beginner intermediate side of the resort, and we've got some great skiing. 4 runs, over 600 vertical, top to bottom on Navajo Chair. It's going to be a wonderful entry to the winter for us.
Oh my goodness, Trent Parker needs to go to Bryan Head. Need to check it out.
Yeah, no, it seems like a great spot. Way up high. I mean,
good
snow
vibes,
quality's
as
great.
Tom said, good vibes, and I totally agree. Great vibes. Went there a few years ago. We talked about that in our conversation today. It's a great place to visit.
Pretty
it's a
cool
lot of fun.
Yeah, way up high in elevation, so those temperatures much colder than what we see up here in northern Utah, especially when we're talking about making snow and snowmaking upgrades and stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff that really keeps these places going. And if you're headed out there towards opening day, it's going to be a cold one. We're talking about temperatures starting off the day in the 20s and really not recovering from there, maybe maxing out near about 30 degrees and lots of sunshine. So make sure you bring that sunscreen. Make sure you bring those dark tinted lenses. It's that time of year where we start to think about that snow on the ground reflecting all that sunlight back up into your face, and you have to worry about sunburn. Feels like 35 in Salt Lake right now. Feels like 39 in St. George. You can thank these northerly breezes here coming in the backside of this area of low pressure that brought us snow showers yesterday. Well, southeastern Utah will see those snow showers overnight into tomorrow, and that's really about it. But check out Colorado, New Mexico, just getting slammed by this winter storm. We're talking about snow totals upwards of 1 to 2 feet additionally on top of what they've already gotten here in the last day or so. In St. George on that 7+2 day forecast, 57 for your Thursday afternoon, slowly rising into the low to mid 60s by the time we get towards the weekend. Partly cloudy skies, not a whole lot of chance for rain in this forecast. Temperatures cooling off into the 60s for most of next week. Here in Salt Lake City, 46 for your Thursday, up to 49 for Friday, 50s through the weekend. Might get close to 60 degrees there on Monday as those southwest winds increase out ahead of our next storm system, bringing a chance for a mix of rain and snow as we head towards Tuesday and Wednesday. That's the most up-to-date look at your First Alert forecast. We'll be right back right after this.
Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow night at 7.